Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into a pretty mind-bending idea. What if the universe, your brain, and your very mind are all running on the same fundamental design? We're going to go on a journey from the grand architecture of the cosmos right down to the personal code that builds your reality. All right, so here's our roadmap. We're going to start with the big picture, these universal patterns. Then we'll touch on the physics behind it all, connect that to the brain, then your own mental model of reality, and wrap up with how you can actually engineer a new you. Okay, let's kick things off with something simple, but really profound when you think about it. It's this idea that nature kind of repeats itself. It has these favorite designs that pop up everywhere, hinting that everything is deeply, deeply connected. So let's just put the big question right out there. What if the universe and your own mind actually share a fundamental design? I mean, really think about that. It's a wild thought, but it's inspired by patterns we see literally everywhere, from the unimaginably large to the impossibly small. Okay, just look at this. It's the same pattern, right? This elegant spiral, this rotational geometry. It shows up at every single scale of reality. You've got the massive swirl of a galaxy, the spin of a black hole, the funnel of a hurricane, and then zoom all the way in, and there it is again, in the twist of your own DNA. It's like a huge clue that nature is working from a single fundamental blueprint. And at the heart of so many of these patterns, you find this shape, the torus. Yeah, it kind of looks like a donut, but what's so cool about it is that it's the perfect model for a self-sustaining system, where energy flows out and then loops right back into itself, just like the Earth's magnetic field. Now, definitely keep this shape in your mind because we're going to come back to it. Some really cutting-edge theories suggest this exact geometry might be key to how our brains and maybe even our consciousness actually work. All right, so we've seen the patterns. Now let's go a level deeper and look at the physics underneath it all. Physicists have been on this quest forever, right? To find one single theory that explains, well, everything. The universe's source code. So what's our best guess for that source code right now? It's something called M-theory, and it's a trip. It says that deep down, everything isn't made of little dots or particles, it's made of tiny, vibrating strings. Think of it like a cosmic guitar. Every particle, every force in the universe is just a different note being played on these strings. It's this incredible, beautiful idea that tries to finally bridge the gap between Einstein's universe of gravity and the super weird world of quantum physics. And here's what makes it so mind-blowing. The legendary physicist Edward Witten pointed this out. He said, in other theories, you kind of have to shoehorn gravity in. But in string theory, it's not an add-on. It just emerges. It's built in from the start. Gravity isn't an option. It's a requirement. That's a huge deal. Okay, so let's pause for a second. If the entire universe runs on this beautiful unified code, it begs a really fascinating question. What about the universe inside our heads? This 3-pound organ, the brain, does it follow the same rules? Is your mind a tiny cosmos? And this is where we really go down the rabbit hole. It's speculative, for sure, but some theories in what's called neuroquantum science are looking at this wild parallel. They're asking, could our brains be processing information using principles similar to what we see in massive cosmic structures, like a black hole? So, how does that even work? Well, think about it. A black hole's event horizon is a boundary, right? A point of no return, where information goes in. The idea here is that our brain acts like a similar kind of boundary, but for consciousness. It's the thing that takes this absolute flood of information from the outside world and somehow translates it all into your single, unified, subjective experience of being alive right now. And listen, this isn't just some philosophical hand-waving. Scientists are actively hunting for the biological hardware that could make this happen. They're looking at specific molecules, like the one shown here, that might act as neural qubits, basically the building blocks for a quantum computer inside our heads. The big challenge is figuring out how they could protect that super fragile quantum information in the warm, messy environment of a living brain. Okay, so that's the hardware, the brain itself. Now let's talk about the software, the operating system that runs on that hardware, your mind. Because this is where the grand architecture of reality gets really, really personal. This is probably one of the most important things to get. We don't experience the world directly, not at all. We experience our model of the world, a version that our mind constructs for us. You've probably heard the saying, the map is not the territory. Well, your mind creates the map. And the best part? That map isn't set in stone. It can be redrawn. So how does our mind build this map? Well, according to models like NLP, it's constantly running these three programs in the background without you even noticing. First, it deletes stuff. It has to, or you'd be totally overwhelmed. Second, it distorts things, twisting experiences to fit what you already believe. And third, it generalizes. It takes one bad experience and says, see, they're all like that. These filters are useful, but they're also the very things that build the prison walls of our own limiting belief. And right at the core of that whole mental model, you've got what Dr. Maxwell Maltz called the self-image. This is huge. It's the mental picture you hold of yourself. Think of it like a thermostat for your life. If you see yourself as a 7 out of 10 person, you'll subconsciously sabotage anything that takes you to a 9 or 10, and you'll work your butt off to get back up if you fall to a 5. It is the core code of your personal OS. So, if our entire reality is filtered through a mental model, and that model is built around a self-image, then the conclusion is kind of inescapable, isn't it? We can become the architects. We can learn to rewrite the code. This is where we stop just living our reality and start engineering it. And this idea has been around forever, for good reason. As James Allen put it, you can't always choose your circumstances directly, but you can always choose your thoughts. And by doing that, you indirectly, but absolutely, shape your circumstances. The change has to start on the inside. It's the only place it can start. The good news is we're not starting from scratch. We have an amazing toolkit to work with. You've got things like CBT to find and challenge those limiting beliefs, to literally debug your own code. You've got the simple but powerful question from Psycho-Cybernetics: what would the person I want to be do right now? You've got the wisdom of atomic habits, using tiny actions to build a new identity. And you have powerful techniques like visualization and being present in the now to install that new ideal deep into your operating system. And this is the secret sauce, right from Atomic Habits. True change isn't about behavior, it's about identity. Every single action you take is like casting a vote for the type of person you want to become. It's a feedback loop. You're not just doing a workout, you're casting a vote for I am a healthy person. You're not just writing one page, you're casting a vote for I am a writer. You embody the identity one small vote at a time. So, we've gone from the swirling galaxies and the fundamental laws of physics all the way back to the code running inside your own head. And it all leads to this one incredibly powerful personal question. If reality really is a story, and you've been given the pen, what story are you going to tell?